Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Let me see who is first. Okay. Oh, there we go. Jetstar. Thank you so much for being here first, Jetstar. Let me see. When I saw it, I felt proud. The apology for Diana was 25 plus years well overdue. He really got some justice for his mama. I hope he knows proud and how much we stand with him. I think he has a general idea of how we feel about him. Sure enough. Okay. Um, and Ispy, thank you very much. Joan Garcia, James Norman. Okay, let me put that up there. Avid reader, Balaji Anthony, Lola Love, Bonzola Adams, a diva, uh, Lydia Washington, Fancy, Connie Balmer, Novidi, Gwendolyn Daniels. Okay, Beverly McCaskill. I think I'm going to start repeating myself. So why don't we just get on with it, shall we? So, there we go. Well, I love those images of Harry going to and from the courthouse. I'm sorry that he has to go to and from the courthouse, but that is a necessity, not of his making, but I guess you could say fate had brought him to those very, very iconic entrances and exits from the British courts, from his or her majesty's courts. But here we are. Fast forward to today or yesterday for most of you, and he has been triumphant. And I still think that there's more coming down the line later, but a win is a win. So let's accept this for what it is. And of course, there are some trolls that are trying to say otherwise, but we know better. We know what was at stake. We know how the very strange law in the United Kingdom works where liability is concerned. So we'll just continue to accept it as a win and move on. Bravo. Yes. Thank you, Chantel. Number 6. Bravo. Bravo. Okay. And let's go here. So this was added to Byline today. And of course, we love Byline, don't we? We love Byline. If I'm correct, Byline is actually a collection of people who used to work in the industry, who were themselves at one time not always on the right side of history, but they are now. Um, and what percentage of them used to, be on the other side of things, I can't say for certain, but they're here now, and they're doing the Lord's work. So we won't get involved with all that other stuff. So government confirms no Levinson 2 inquiry into the press after monumental admission of wrongdoing by News UK in Prince Harry's case. Murdoch's newspaper group apologizes for 15 years of privacy breaches in landmark settlement, but the Prime Minister's office quickly diminished calls for a fresh investigation. I would say that is born out of fear. They are still quite afraid of the tabloid media. I mean, they have had this unprecedented admission of guilt. In most circles, you would say it was an admission of guilt wrongdoing and, dare I say, crimes. And yet, the prime minister is still quite afraid of him, as well he should be, because Keir Starmer, it doesn't seem like he's going to be there that long. Andrea Allen, or is it Andrea Allen, should I say? Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. So the article goes on to say the government has said it will not launch a fresh inquiry into wrongdoing by the press, despite an admission from the publishers of The Sun that private investigators working for the newspaper undertook illegal activity between 1996 and 2011 while probing Prince Harry's private life. At the 13th hour, the landmark trial of the Sun owner News Group newspaper has been settled through an agreement with Labour peer Tom Watson and the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. The settlement avoids an explosive trial over allegations of phone hacking, illegal activity, and a cover up at the Sun and now shuttered News of the World. But as part of the agreement, and after years of denial, the Sun has, for the first time, admitted that investigators worked for it were engaged in unlawful activity. In a joint statement on what it described as a monumental victory, Prince Harry and Lord Watson called for a new police and parliamentary investigation following the admission. So, let me see. The rule of law must now run its full course. It states Prince Harry and Tom Watson joined others in calling for the police and Parliament to investigate not only the unlawful activity, now finally admitting, but the perjury and cover up along the way. And of course, that old saying, the cover up is worse than the crime itself. The cover up is worse than the initial crime. So, Joyce Yvette Davis says, "Hi, Baron, check out your, I'm sorry, one more time. Hi, Baron, check your It's Royal Sussex mailbox. I sent you a correspondence. It should be there sometimes this week." Oh, okay, will do. Thank you very much. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I get a notification as soon as something is dropped off there. So I will make sure that I keep tabs of that. But thank you so much. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm so excited that I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control and I think I want to. I want to. Okay, thank you very much. Did I just kind of perk up or what? I think I need one of my Connie Balmer throat lozenges, as it is winter time and it is quite dry. Oh my goodness, this is so good. It is Vogel. Vogel. Isn't it German for a bird? Vogel. A. Vogel. Vogel. Or would it be Wogel? Not Vogel. Wogel. No, the W is pronounced as a V. Anyway, it is fantastic. All right. So anyway, there is more to that article, but I'll leave it there. Some of it just kind of revises things that we've already spoke about. So if you would like to finish that article, I'll put it at the top of the thing here so you can get a hold of it in your own good timing. There it is. That is Byline. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. There it is. So go ahead and grab it just in case I change that later, but at least you'll have it. And if not, you can just take the title from right here. Government confirms no Leveson 2 inquiry. Byline investigates, and you'll find it. So thank you again, Joyce Yvette Davis, and I'm going to look forward to my mailbox. And Elaine Parker, thank you for being here, and thank you for being a member as well as a moderator here at Royal Sussex. Very kind of you. Okay. And okay, I'll take that away. And I will, Winsome Jones, thank you very much for the super sticker. And thank you for being here tonight. And thank you for your continued support of Royal Sussex. Prince Harry settles legal claim against Sun publisher NGN. Apologies to Royal for phone hacking, surveillance, and misuse of private information by journalists and private investigators. You guys, the what do you call it? The transcript from that what was it? Was Harry on the bench for 2 days? Well, in the witness stand. Did he spend 2 days on the witness stand? I believe it was 2 days. It was either a full day or 2 days of transcripts. And it was absolutely heartbreaking, some of the accounts. And so when that kind of crazy lady yesterday that was on whatever, was that Jeremy? No, what Jeremy? But, the lady that had dark color on. She said that Harry did not have all of his facts straight. And if I recall, the judge, the burden of proof was that if they could prove, like, what was it, 40%, 50%, it was some number that they gave, that if they could, one more time, that if they could prove that amount, like a portion of what was in question, that he could win. If I could recall it, that he would win the suit. And of course, he met the burden of proof. Some of it seemed very abstract, but at the same time, unless someone had hacked the phone or, done some other devious thing, there was no other way that they could have printed those articles. Now, remember, the tabloid in question, they actually purged, deleted on an industrial scale so much material that the police had actually ordered them not to destroy, do not touch it. And they did it anyway. Also, let us not forget that the judge found Omid Scobie, and I hate to keep rubbing it in, but some of you all, Omid Scobie have proved to be very valuable and very reliable to the Sussexes. Now, there was a time when he was trying to play both sides of things, but he was, at the very least, very fair. However, once he broke free of all of that stuff, he has been unstoppable and incredibly effective. And it was because he served as a witness and the judge found him credible. And I believe it was because of that time that he spent at was it News of the World? I know he was working in the same newsroom as Piers Morgan, Hoghead. And the judge found him very credible. and that helped a lot as well. So there you go. Um, oh my goodness, Connie Bomber. I don't know what these are, but it is salvia bonbons. That's what it's called. So good. So good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Heather Stroud, I can see you chose violence today. Heather wants to know. Heather wants to know right now, damn it. I want to know who leaked Harry's position in Afghanistan right now. This is treason. Thank you, Heather. Heather is ready to go to war about that one, and I don't blame you because that was pretty crappy. Okay, time to change. I'm going to throw Sussex Riviera up there at the top. Let's see, replace pinned message. There we go. And that, of course, is another Sussex friendly space. All right, let's keep it moving, shall we? So, this right here, blackening of Prince Harry's name, almost deliberate. Former The Guardian editor in chief, we spoke to Alan Roosbrigger, former editor in chief of The Guardian and current editor of Prospect magazine. We asked if he sees this as the end or the beginning of a criminal investigation into what happened. Well, that is a good question because I do believe that this constitutes an admission of guilt and also an acknowledgement of wrongdoing. And of course, I have a soundbite for you that I want to share. And I'll get to that lickety split and I'll let you hear what he has to say. Now, I don't want to play this whole thing because it's a little long, but I'm going to go to the part where it just makes sense, if that's okay with you. Wow, it was a busy day today on these Sussex friendly spaces, were it not? Or should I say, was it not? Connie Balmer. I know I keep saying this, but these things are amazing. Sure. I'll take a picture of it so I can show you guys what I'm munching on, but so good for my throat. It's got that little soft, like creamy part in the middle. And good Lord. Okay. Is this it? No. Is that it? No. That's not it. And that's not it. Oh, okay. Hold on a second, you guys. Let me find it. I thought for certain that I had that handy. I do apologize, but I shall get to it immediately. Give me just a second. Is that it? Yes, I kind of hit it for myself. Let me see. Yes, that's it. Okay. Sorry. Coming up.
This was Prince Harry entering the ring on his first round victory over the Mirror Group last year. Now at the same court, the Duke of Sussex has landed another.
Okay. As I said, I don't need that whole thing, so I'm kind of skipping ahead here. And here we go.
Investigation into what happened. Well, I think it would have been better to have it all tested in court in the way that Harry's case against Mirror Group newspapers was tested, and the judge came to findings of fact. So we haven't got facts here. But I thought it was quite significant at the end that Lord Watson, said that they were going to hand the whole dossier of evidence over to the police. So I think in that sense, it's now in the police's decision whether they're going to carry through and look at allegations of criminal behavior, of perjury, of destruction of evidence, and so forth. So I don't think it's the end.
Disturbing, though, isn't it? There's a sense in which it is justice, but justice for the super wealthy. One doubts whether Tom Watson would have been involved had he not been, to some extent, able to hang the case financially on the deep coffers of Prince Harry.
Well, it was also the deep pockets of Rupert Murdoch. I mean, someone was going to lose 10 million at the end of this case, and Prince Harry has made sure it wasn't him. And in that sense, Rupert Murdoch has been able to do what he's done in other court actions, which is to buy his way out of the justice system and make sure that these allegations aren't heard. And what we've got here is the original crime. And you remember the defense there was that it was one rotten apple. And then in the subsequent 15 years of cover-up, that shifted to it was one rotten newspaper. And now they've finally admitted that it was more than one rotten newspaper. So we haven't been given the truth over a long period of time. And that matters because this is a newspaper at the heart of it. This is about journalism, and journalists are supposed to tell the truth. News organizations are supposed to tell the truth.
And it's not just the Murdoch stable, Associated Newspapers, Mail on Sunday and so forth. There are certainly a lot of rumours. There is also outstanding legal action in that department, isn't there? This has not gone away.
There are more cases to come, and it'll be interesting to see whether Associated they want to fight through in the way that the Mirror Group did, or whether they'll do what Murdoch did, which is to not want this tested in court. I mean, the blackening of Prince Harry's name and his wife by large chunks of Fleet Street has been really awful to watch. And it seems like an almost deliberate tactic to destroy the credibility of somebody who is a threat to them. And I suppose one thing that you hope is going to come out of this action after the really groveling apology by Murdoch, not only to Harry, but also to his mother, Princess Diana, that it would be really unseemly now if they just started that all over again now that he's won this case.
And the Murdoch executive down there at Wapping, Rebecca Brooks, her words revisited today: I ran a clean ship, meaning the Sun. That seems somewhat in tatters, to put it mildly.
Well, it was the Prince Harry's QC used the word, it wasn't a clean ship, it was a criminal enterprise. I mean, it is extraordinary that Rebecca Brooks is still in position tonight, or indeed for the last 15 years, apart from the time when she wasn't. And it's difficult to think of any parallel in any other aspect of corporate life where the CEO, who's now admitted today that her company was indulging in unlawful activities while she was editor for 6 years, should still be in place.
And to those who say, oh, come on, look, this is all a long time ago, the tabloids have long since been eclipsed by social media, which is much darker in some ways, let's face it. Time to move on. What do you say?
Well, you can't have it both ways. The Murdoch organization is a powerful organization. It sets the agenda. It wants to be noticed. Its chief executive is a very powerful person. I think the legacy media wants to be believed, wants to regain trust and see off social media. And it's difficult to see how it can do that in these kind of circumstances.
Alan Rusbridger, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Rebecca Brooks ran a clean ship? If you're not familiar with Rebecca Brooks, where I grew up, we would call her a play sister, a play daughter, that kind of thing. That means not really family, but wherever we go, we just say, oh, that's my sister, that's my daughter. Yeah, that's my play daughter. Well, that's the play daughter of Rupert Murdoch. They said she's really like a daughter to him. News of the World publisher gave false evidence over missing Rebecca Brooks' hard drive, claimant says. She, oh goodness. All right. Sorry about that. I had the thing too near the phone. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, TH, for the Cash App. And thank you so much. Let's see. Thank you for all you do. Friend in my head. I love that. Friend in my head. Thank you so much for that. Rebecca Brooks, she has worked for Rupert Murdoch for years. She has, in so many words, admitted wrongdoing in court. She should, in some people's opinion, she should have gone to jail. She should have gone to jail. News UK boss Rebecca Brooks is under fire for her close friend Jeremy Clarkson. Hate speech on Meghan Markle, but few know that Brooks is also facing allegation of industrial scale phone hacking and destruction of evidence at the High Court. It's not just that she looks demonic, but she behaves in the most demonic ways. I hate to say that about any person, anywhere, but there are so many things hidden behind those rather lurid looking eyes. She is the personification of evil. I kid you not. I don't say that lightly. Yes, Connie Balmer, demonic. And she's not the only one. I don't know how these people, I don't know how they live with themselves for some of the things that they have been guilty of. If you look at poor Charlotte Church was virtually tortured by the tabloid media, by the Rupert Murdoch tabloid media. Her childhood innocence was stripped away. Her family continuously on the wrong end of the abuse from the Murdoch Media Corporation. It was what that girl and her family has been through. And that's the thing, is that they don't care, regardless of your age, your gender, regardless of any mental health issues, physical health, injury, disability. When that tabloid media machine is out to get you, they will take you down. They don't care. And she's part of it. She is part of it. I would say Rebecca English doesn't even come close to how treacherous this person is. If you think that that's just the look she gives, or she looks that way because she has been under investigation, no, that's her set point. That's her resting demonic face. But look her up sometimes. Look her up sometime, Rebecca Brooks. Yeah, TMCD, they are all evil. I tell you, these people, and it's like a protection racket. It's like you could compare it to organized crime. It seems like, you know how they always say racketeering? It is a racket. It is a racket. And there's certain things that you can do to buy protection from the British tabloid media. And the sad thing is that they have exported that brand of journalism all over the world. That is like one of the biggest exports from that island is the tabloid media. Although, to be fair, Rupert Murdoch isn't from the United Kingdom. I believe he's from Australia, but does not matter. He fit right into that type of journalism. I called it the axis of evil, where you have um, Australia, Britain, and the United States. It's like this triangle of evil where they all seem to work in cahoots. I guess the English language is what they have in common, but whatever it is, it makes that circle around to the all three countries. Now, I won't say that for certain. Well, yeah, I can say it. It really is a product of Britain. I'm sorry to say that, but it is. It's so disappointing to me as someone who used to fantasize about what it would be like to be in Britain. Oh, I can't wait to go to Britain. And I will say that I had an amazing time there. The people were incredibly nice, right? And dare I say, I've encountered some of the Brits that were quite warm and friendly. I'll never forget, I sat at St. James Park outside of Buckingham Palace, and I talked to this old guy about the war. Now, this was back in 2007, but I talked to him about the war. And it was like one of those things that if I would have tried to put myself in that situation, it would not have happened. But he was there, I was there, and we just made conversation. That was my experience. But it's the tabloid media types that has become an embarrassment the world over. Let's see. Bond says, let me see. Is that Marita from Brave or Jeffrey Dahmer? Just asking for a friend. Oh, yeah, let me get this person off here because she really is the stuff of nightmares. She really is. This stuff of nightmares. Okay. All right, you guys, she's gone. I hope you'll be able to sleep tonight or that you won't have visions of her later today. All right, let me take that away and let's continue. Denise Welch. I love Denise Welch. She says, congratulations, Prince Harry. When the hate doesn't work, they start telling lies. Remember that. When hate doesn't work, they start telling lies. And how many of us have worked with someone in the workplace? It wasn't bad enough that they were so hateful to you or one of your other coworkers or whatever. And then, unfortunately, when that wasn't working out, then they started telling lies. I've experienced that in the workplace. Jules Ryder says, I wonder if she has lunch with the horse, probably brings the horse her feed bag. I could imagine she has like some crossbody bag that is unusually large, and people probably think there's important documents or something. But no, that is for her visits to the Queen Consort. Hey, Legs is here. Hey, Legs. Tanya Sweet says, is it Tanya? Yeah, Sweet or Sweat? Is that Sweat? Anyway, hi, Tanya. Am I saying it right? My mom visited London and Oxford for a college exchange course back when the Queen Mother was still alive, and she got to see Parliament. Oh yeah, there's the upper galleries where you can see them in action, right? That's got to be an experience, especially when if you've ever seen the way they conduct business in Parliament. Is it the House of Commons where they seem like they're yelling back and forth at the Prime Minister? Like that guy that says, tell her she needs to pay her taxes, like that time when they had the opening of Parliament. And that one person, I think it was in the House of Commons, who yelled the Queen needs to pay taxes, and the Queen voluntarily paid taxes from there out. So yeah, they can be quite a force to reckon with. Thank you so much for your comment, and that is a very cool story. Stephanie Katie says Trump is in office and the Russians feel free to bring their spy ship into UK waters. This is about more than corporate profits. Could King Harry may be called on to save democracy? Well, I mean, I think he's done with that kind of stuff, but I'm satisfied for him to just continue his work with the veterans and mental health, and of course, Ballet and all of the other charities. But yeah, I think that part of his work is in the past. Marshar says, Barron just Googled images Rebecca Brooks and got shot with a full color picture of her, and I actually jumped. She's only 56 and looks to be 90. Hell, my 99-year-old grandma had less wrinkles. Well, that's all that shady stuff. That's from being shady. Now, I got another one for you. Yeah, let me just get to this one. I got another one. And he almost kind of looks like the other guy. But let's see. You guys, these squatties were on Twitter all day today. I think they only just wrapped up. They have been on Twitter.
Under oath at the Leveson inquiry.
His phone was hacked by the News of the World. He received damages. And you were actually due to be cross-examined, I think, in this case.
Yes, on Monday.
Had it gone ahead.
On Monday, I was meant to be on.
This is the first time the Sun has admitted unlawful activity, not of its journalists, but of private investigators it hired. How significant is that, do you believe?
Well, the first significance of this is simply that they have denied under oath, in a court case, under oath at the Leveson inquiry, and again and again publicly, that this ever happened. So they finally admitted something which they have actually been lying about, and not just ordinarily lying, but lying under oath. Now, the real question now then becomes, was this ignorance? Were they totally incompetent? Or were they actually knowingly trying to mislead a court of law and a public inquiry? And if it's the latter, that's perjury. And if it's perjury, that in itself is a criminal offense. So somebody at News is in pretty hot water for that reason. And
well, now he is speaking of News of the World, that someone from the News of the World is in hot water because after that groveling apology today, it is apparent that someone has lied under oath. That someone has lied under oath. And so it was recommended with the statement that was read by David Sherborne, Harry's barrister, a statement from Lord Watson and Prince Harry that a criminal investigation should take place. A criminal investigation should take place. So this really is not over. This is not over. This is it's going to be the start of something, hopefully, that will end in jail time or with jail time for some of these people. And they deserve it. They really do deserve it because what they were doing was criminal. Someone had mentioned on Spaces that if these things had happened in the United States, the wire tapping, there's a charge of wire fraud, racketeering, that is a federal offense, as well as Well, I mean, they have didn't they bug the restaurant? Or no, or it was someplace they got bugged. A lot of the things that they were doing, people would have gone to jail. I don't know how that did not happen sooner. I think only two of those private investigators went to jail. Everyone was so sure that Rebecca Brooks was going to go to jail, and that did not happen. I don't know how she managed to avoid jail time. And I can't help but think that her play daddy is the one that helped her avoid jail time, but she should have gone to jail. She really should have gone to jail. She admitted. If my, and listen, my ability to recall is not always great, but I am going to allege that I remember part of a testimony that she said that they had paid off police officers, and they, she admitted to it, and then she said, well, if it's in pursuit of a story or something. And it was just this breathtaking admission of doing something totally illegal, and anybody else would have gone to jail, but not her. Now, I may have gotten bits of that wrong, but that is what I recall. So my apologies in advance if that was not correct, but it was something to that effect. So I'm just going to throw a big alleged in there and keep it moving. I'm going to pin Global Ivy. It's Sussex. Oh, anyway, there's another Sussex friendly space at the top of the chat. When you see these Sussex friendly spaces, please do like, share, and subscribe. We need friendly spaces. Hello, Ivy here. There we go. Sussex Global UK. At least 2 individuals in that group should be in jail and may yet still find themselves behind bars. I hope so. I hope so. If there is no serious punishment, there is no reason for them to stop doing these things. And Harry wanted an apology. He wanted to make sure that people would be held to account. And part of being held to account is jail time. Now, check this out. ABC News. Prince Harry settles lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch's UK tabloid with substantial damages. That's right. Prince Harry has settled lawsuit against News Group newspaper and the Rupert Murdoch-owned company that published The Sun and previously published the now defunct News of the World. I even saw David Muir of ABC News talking about that earlier. So, you guys, it is a huge story. If you are one of the people that still look at the tabloid media and you're wondering, how come the tabloids do not have the big blaring headlines? Well, they're not going to do it. But all over the media world, people are talking about Harry's settlement. So it is big news. If it seems like it's not a big story, that's a mistake because it is huge. Joan Garcia says, Baron, we keep looking for humanity and there's none. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. And it is a mistake to expect humanity from those people. In real time, we watched the British tabloid media and the British royal family, so we can't let them off the hook. The abuse of the Sussexes during the Queen's funeral. It was that abuse that upstaged the Queen at her own funeral. That same abuse. It was that abuse that had people believing for days that Harry was the only family member who did not see the Queen before she went to her glory. And let me say again, if not for Omid Scobie, who actually put together a very convincing timeline that reminded us, or should I say, alerted us to the fact that William wasn't there. Kate didn't bother to come up. Edward and Sophie, none of them were there. They were about 45 minutes late. They missed the Queen's passing by about 45 minutes. Charles went out in the forest foraging for mushrooms of all things. So the only person that we know for certain that was at the Queen's bedside was Princess Anne, which I think says a lot about that family, because if that was my grandmother, if that was my mother, I would have been by the bedside to make sure that I was there at that moment. Charles went foraging for mushrooms, and the night before, he was setting up for an interview with NBC television. Anne was there, but Charles wasn't. Charles didn't care to be there. So, as Joan Garcia says, we keep looking for humanity, and there's none. And that is so true. There's not much humanity in that family. There's not much humanity. Well, actually, it's non-existent when it comes to the courtiers and the tabloid media. Practically non-existent. Well, they said it was mushrooms. They said it was mushrooms. Maybe he was out there in search of his dignity. Maybe while he was out there, he was searching for some sort of dignity. Sussex Riviera said, no civil is money. They gave the info to the police in hopes they do their job, but that is not likely. Okay. All right, let's continue. Now, Ian Byrne, a member of parliament, I believe MP is, anyone who is able to get accountability and truth from the deserves our full respect and thanks. As to many of us, their smears and lies can ruin lives. And Peter Stefanovic says, Prince Harry's barrister, David Sherborne, hails a monumental victory as the Sun owner issues a full apology for privacy breaches, declaring the time for accountability has arrived. Hear, hear. And this person on the right side, Simon McCoy, I don't know who he is. I spent much of my time as a TV royal correspondent in the 90s, following up stories that first appeared in tabloids. We could never confirm them. We now know why, but it often means repeating the claims we, the broadcast media, added to the pressure on individuals. I am sorry. So do you all know this guy? Because I don't know who he is. Simon McCoy? Is that a sincere I am sorry? Is that just riding the momentum of the moment? I am sorry. But if you do know anything about him, just throw it in the chat. Nightline mentioned Harry's long overdue apology to him and his mother, plus an undisclosed and substantial sum. I like that. I like that. Yes. Where the sun doesn't shine, Maurice. Where the sun doesn't shine. Yeah. Where the sun doesn't shine. Okay, let's continue then. So just in case, in that small print, let me see. I do my best. I can barely see that. Let's hear that apology. You guys, some people have literally wept at this apology. Not so much that it changes the way anybody feels about the people who have given the apology, but it's been a long and very emotional road. If you were on earlier today and you heard Karen M., she pretty much emotionally was able to convey what a lot of people were feeling. And it was a bit of a relief that Harry would not have to pay the legal bills for the the Murdoch people. And also just the acknowledgement of the pain and suffering that was caused, especially where Diana was concerned. That was unexpected, and it was a very, very emotional thing. So, NGN's apology to the claimant. NGN offers full and unequivocal apology to the Duke of Sussex for the serious intrusion by the Sun between 1996 and 2011 into his private life, including incidents of unlawful activities carried out by private investigators working for the Sun. NGN also offers a full and unequivocal apology to the Duke of Sussex for the phone hacking, surveillance, and misuse of private information by journalists and private investigators instructed by them at the News of the World. NGN further apologizes to the Duke for the impact on him of the extensive coverage and serious intrusion into his private life, as well as the private life of Diana, Princess of Wales, his late mother. In particular, during his younger years, we acknowledge and apologize for the distress caused to the Duke and the damage inflicted on relationships, friendships, and family, and have agreed to pay him substantial damages. It is also acknowledged, without any admission of illegality, that NGN's response to the 2006 arrest and subsequent actions were regrettable. NGN also offers a full and unequivocal apology to Lord Watson for the unwarranted intrusion carried out into his private life during his time in government by the News of the World during the period of 2009 to 2011. This includes him being placed under surveillance in 2009 by journalists at the News of the World and those instructed by them. NGN also acknowledges and apologizes for the adverse impact this had on Lord Watson's family and has agreed to pay him a substantial damages. Excuse me. In addition, in 2011, News International received information that information was being passed covertly to Lord Watson from within News International. We now understand that this information was false, and Lord Watson was not in receipt of any such confidential information. NGN apologizes fully and unequivocally for this. So that was the apology. That is what was issued today from the News Corp, Rupert Murdoch's company. And it caught a lot of people off guard. That was unexpected. Leg says Katie Nichols is still out here giving misinformation. Since no one cares about the Vanity Fair article, she Steele is on the attack. She is saying that his amount will be lesser because his legal expenses. Duh. Duh. And what else is new? What else is new? So she's trying to water down the momentum. Now, if it was anybody else, and I do mean anybody else, I would say, yeah, you got a point there. Harry was not in this for the money. Now, that right there is her attempt to, I guess, feed the base, to appeal to the base, that base of hateful people that believe in the tabloid media and agrees with their tactics of uncovering this and planting stories, and they're okay with that. They're okay with that. They don't feel that anything has gone wrong, so long as it helps to focus their hatred upon people that they've never met and for things that they probably haven't said or done, then they're okay with that. Okay. The negative comments are mostly fake. Yeah, that's a good point, Just Star. A lot of the negativity that we're seeing in these comment sections are coming from bots. Suzette Bailey says, congrats, Prince Harry, good job. The question now is, will the propaganda against Meghan and false briefings from the British royal family stop? That is a good question. I was wondering, so what happens now? What happens now? Are we still going to see the level of negativity, this incredibly high or low, depending on how you feel about it? Will that continue? Will that continue? Will anything about coverage of the Sussexes change? Especially now, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say they're going to soften their tone for a while, but what gives them a bit of an out is that most of what was covered was about phone hacking and illegal activity. So making up stuff, I think it's going to be business as usual. And I hope that I'm not right about that. I hope that this will expose this hate campaign for what it is, and that the public will render some backlash that they can't ignore. And that's what I think is most important, is that there has to be a backlash. It has to come from the public, not just from court, but from the public, especially if people will just not engage with that type of news any longer. If people could abandon the thirst for controversy and gossip and such, if there was ever a time when people weren't so excited by that, but shows like Downton Abbey would not have been a big hit if people did not, I guess, get off on seeing rich and famous people suffer. And even worse is that some of the people that love to read these things or hear these things, they're also on social media making up lies and spreading lies so that they can participate in the wrongdoing. I mean, they will literally lie about things. They'll tell their own lies. Let's see. Leg says NGN is paying Harry legal expenses. NGN settled. Harry won. Oh, you're right about that. You're right about that, Legs. Because if you do settle, it part of the agreement is you pay the legal expenses, right? So, in other words, she's lying. Is that what you're saying? That she just flat out told a lie? I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that would appear as though that's a lie. Thank you, Lex. That clears that up. Thanks a lot. But still, Harry was not in it for the money. So whether he gets more or gets less, the point is he wanted accountability. He got that. And the financial settlement means that he doesn't have to pay for it. There's the Independent. Harry wins historic 10 million plus pound apology deal from Murdoch's son. And over here, gotcha. Prince forces the son to pay out over 10 million pounds. And aside from these two papers, I don't think it's front page news with the usual suspects. I don't think it is. I think that most of them are playing possum. Yeah, they're playing possum with this one. Charles Spencer, Prince Harry's family. It takes an enormous amount of guts to take on opponents like news group newspapers and great tenacity to win. And it's just wonderful that Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, fought for and gained an apology to his mother. She would be incredibly touched at that and rightly proud. Well done indeed. Thank you, Charles Spencer, the Earl Spencer. And that, of course, is a snapshot of Althorp, Princess Diana's ancestral home. That has been the country estate of the Spencer family for hundreds of years. And David Sherborne, I tell you, he is a superstar in the legal world. The way he read that statement, man, that was powerful. That was powerful. I mean, people that I talked to today away from the Sussex squad could not help but be moved by it. It was powerful. Our country is judged globally by the state of our press and our government, both of which I believe are at rock bottom. Prince Harry speaking during court case against Mirror Group newspaper. Misan Harriman. Isn't it really cool that people that really love Harry have commented today? Now, Misan is no longer on X, formerly known as Twitter, but he put this on his Instagram. Misan Harriman, I know so many people who have been put through a living hell because of the British media, and some of them are no longer with us. What Prince Harry has achieved today is seismic for so many reasons. The apology on the side, too, I will be posting the full statement by Tom Watson and Prince Harry shortly. So along with this post, he did include the apology that I just shared with you. So that's why you don't see it there. I didn't think I needed it. And there is the evil leprechaun from yesterday. There's the evil leprechaun, that guy that we talked about yesterday. Frosty Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious. They're magically delicious. Now, this a-hole, do you guys remember this? I am going to play this for you. And I want you to hear the difference between Harry's outcome and that of his brother. See that? You can see the Independent. that's a contrast to what William read, to the statement he read. So Harry, he said, paranoid. Harry lost friends over unlawful stories. Prince flies 5,500 miles to have his day in court with Elton John and Sadie Frost in phone hacking claims against mail newspapers. But will he go extra mile to make up with Charles? God, I hope not. Hell with Charles. But Prince Harry suffered from suspicious and paranoia. I'm sorry, from suspicion and paranoia, and lost friends over news articles. A court heard yesterday as he launched his campaign to reform the media with surprise appearance in London. The Duke of Sussex flew 5,500 miles from California to attend a hearing as the Daily Mail publisher bid to dismiss claims against it, including allegations of phone hacking. Also in court were Sir Elton John, Sadie Frost, and Baroness Lawrence, who, among public figures suing Associated Newspapers, the Duke's lawyer says he was deprived of important aspects of his teenage years by the publisher's action. So, same thing. The Daily Mail was equally, if not more, responsible for the abuse that Harry went through in his childhood, right? As well as the pain and suffering of his mother, which also caused him pain and suffering. All of these tabloids are responsible for that loss of innocence. Now, I can't go so far as to say, oh, well, you know that thing in Paris, but I still feel the way I feel about that. Whoever offered to pay for those photographs, I think, are the most responsible parties. I do. Now, which newspaper would that be? I don't know exactly. One of them, all of them, it does not matter. There was a bounty on the Princess of Wales, and she lost her life. Officially, well, we know who they tried to blame for it, Monsieur Henri, but I am very skeptical about that. So let me, and I hope this is not triggering for anyone, but if you've never heard this before, you really ought to stick around, because this is Willie Leaks at his lowest. I mean, as low as a well digger's ass. Low. Low, low, low.
I would like to thank Lord Dyson and his team for the report. It is welcome that the BBC accepts Lord Dyson's findings in full, which are extremely concerning. That BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother, made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia, displayed woeful incompetence when investigating complaints and concerns about the programme, and were evasive in their reporting to the media and covered up what they knew from their internal investigation. It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia, and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. But what saddens me most is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she'd been deceived. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked...
Okay. Sorry that cuts off, but you get the gist of it. I'm going to give you my opinion about this. William dressed in business casual, went before the cameras and read a statement that was prepared for him. And I'm going to just go out on a limb again. And I believe that that statement was orchestrated, if not written, by the tabloid media. A tabloid media that had been accused of causing Diana's early departure from this world. Now, we all know that the BBC, in spite of all of their shortcomings, the BBC is still one of the most trusted news organizations in the world. And especially in the United Kingdom, more people trust the BBC than any of those tabloids, right? And so, for that reason, this was a chance, an opportunity for them to undermine any confidence that people have in the BBC. Now, it is true that deception was used to gain an interview with Princess Diana. But what is not true, this insinuation that what she said somehow was orchestrated or somehow altered or changed or even influenced by the fact that they cheated to get that interview. They used misleading tactics. That is a lie. Diana said that those words were her own. And to back it up, you need only turn to the tapes that were given to, oh, what's his name that wrote that book? She pretty much said the same thing there. How many times does she have to say the same thing before you understand and appreciate that those were her words? But he's saying that she was paranoid and that's why she said what she said. No, anybody who was paying attention knows better. So my point is, and I've maintained this for a long time, if you watch Real Sussex, the attempt here was to absolve the tabloid media of any guilt or culpability for for Princess Diana's early demise, and lay all of the blame for everything, or at least to insinuate that somehow the BBC has been worse when it comes to how Diana was treated, and that the BBC alone is responsible for the divide that Diana and her husband had during that period. And that is not true. That is not true. Most of the problems came from Charles and from the palace. Charles and the palace gave their consent, in so many words, allegedly, to go after Diana. Whatever happened, the tabloid media was more likely to side with the future king, not a divorced woman, divorced from the royal family. And everybody knows that. Diana was going up against some very powerful forces, and there was practically no way she could win. There was no Sussex Squad. There was no tabloid, I'm sorry, not tabloid, but there was no social media at the time. It does break your heart when you consider that Diana was alone against all of those awful people, and that she recorded cassette tapes that were smuggled to a reporter to tell her story. That seems like a lot to go through, but it was all she had. She could not trust the phones because she felt as though her phones were compromised. And of course, now we know they were. So William got dressed up that morning and went and stood in front of the cameras. And as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, has done the work for the tabloids. He helped to diminish the trust in the BBC. He helped to absolve them of any responsibility for the outcome of Diana's life, right? Or, for her not being there. It served a lot of purposes, but mostly it served the tabloids. I believe that the tabloids influenced or even delivered that speech and gave it to him for him to share with the world. I don't agree with anything in that speech. I don't. If there was fear and paranoia, so what? That does not mean, and this implies, of course, that they made Diana mentally ill in some kind of way. Diana, there was nothing wrong with Diana. Diana was not sick. One of the tactics from the palaces that they used against Prince Harry is this idea that he's mentally ill, that he is not aware of himself, that he doesn't know what's going on, that he's suffering from fear and paranoia. It's not what he says it is. They do that. They do that. They made Diana out to be mentally unstable because that's the only way that they could explain why she wasn't on board with being mistreated and abused. And the same with Harry. Oh, he's gone out to California and he's got those California ways. Oh, listen to him. He sounds like those words are California. It's all part of a tactic. They have not stopped attacking Princess Diana even when she died. They are still trying to diminish her. They're still tearing down her reputation. They don't speak of the good that she's done as much. I mean, even the crown. The crown elevated Charles' stature and made him seem reasonable and thoughtful while simultaneously tearing down Diana. The message we got from the last seasons of The Crown is that she made a deal with the press, that she played it fast and loose. Had she not left the royal family, if she wouldn't have left the United Kingdom and just stayed here in Kensington Palace, she might still be alive. And every time you see those tabloid reporters that knew Diana, some of them were so-called friends of Diana. They're some of the first ones that say that, oh, I had lunch with Diana a week before she died. Yeah, you know, she played games with the media. Yeah, she depended on us to do this and to do that. If by any chance Diana was making deals with the tabloids, it was born out of sheer desperation because she had this behemoth royal family trying to destroy her. I'll let you decide what destroy her means. But the royal family was out to get her. And so she would try to make bargains, I assume, just so that they would leave her alone. But what you don't know, or what you don't hear from people, is when Diana was crying and running and hiding, they called her every filthy name that you could think of just to get a reaction. Those photos were more valuable if Diana was hysterical. And they knew that. So they would do anything they could to rattle her cage, bumping into her, running up to her, calling her filthy names, and sometimes in front of her children. I wonder why William did not remind people about that. Gwen Mills, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. What William did is, what do they call it? A useful idiot. He has been a useful idiot to the tabloids. William took his money from the tabloids, said nothing to Harry, And if anything, he likely promised the tabloids, he won't sue. I'll make sure of that. Allegedly, possibly. I'm pretty sure that he and Charles convinced. Remember when Harry said he met with them by Frogmore? They didn't want to know about the kids. They didn't want to know about his wife. All they wanted to talk about, are you still pursuing these lawsuits? Why don't you let that go? It's an unalivable mission. Isn't that what Charles said? You got to go back to Spare. I'm going to do that myself. After this case, I need to go back to Spare, because I think so many voids will be filled now. Things that maybe we didn't quite understand or just kind of went over our heads. It's always worth taking a second look. I believe Harry's receipts had to be dynamite for NGN to admit unlawful practices, use the word unequivocal, and not demand a non-disclosure. Sharon Fraser, hot diggity dog, that is amazing. You're so right. If they did not demand a non-disclosure, then it only means that Harry had something that was so compelling. They did not want to go to court. Now, if they were in any way secure about their role, their position, they could have cost Harry 10 million pounds in legal costs. But instead, they decided in the 11th hour, listen, how about this amount of money and an apology, a full-throated apology? How about that? They just did not want to go to court. They did not want any of this stuff. They wanted to distance themselves as far away from it as possible. Not demand a non-disclosure. That's huge. That is huge. Thank you for that. Look at that. Paranoid, fearful, isolated. The words Prince William used this week to describe how Martin Bashir's lies ruined his mother's life. Only Martin Bashir ruined his mother's life. Only the Panorama ruined his mother's life. Only the BBC ruined his mother's life. Well, what say you of the News of the World, the Sun, the Mail, the Mirror, what is that thing? The Express, the Times, the Independent. What do you say about the rest of these papers? What role did they have? If Martin Bashir, if the BBC, if Panorama were so responsible, says William, then how does that leave room for the rest of the tabloid media? The answer is it doesn't, not according to him, because Martin Bashir was the only thing that ever hurt Diana. Not Charles, not the institution, not Camilla, and certainly not all of the other tabloids, just Martin Bashir. That darn Martin Bashir. That's the way it reads. That's what gets me. That is the way it reads. It reads Martin Bashir and his lies made her paranoid, fearful, isolated. It wasn't the people listening in on her phone calls. It had nothing to do. Was Martin Bashir responsible for the phone hacking? Was he? Did Martin Bashir hire or influence the dispatch of photographers, paparazzi, to chase her around? That was Martin Bashir too? to call her filthy names as she leaves the gym or walks through a train station? That was Martin Bashir? It had to be, right? It couldn't have been any of those other things I just mentioned. It wasn't Camilla playing all those mind games, wearing white to her wedding. No, none of that. And it wasn't Charles who went to the hospital when William's skull was fractured, only to jump in his car and run to be with Camilla soon thereafter. Or spending, 45 minutes when Harry came home from the hospital? 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours? And he was out the door. Oh, an air and a spare. I'm out of here. Martin Bashir was responsible for all of that stuff, according to William and that stupid thing that he read. Ahmed Scobie said, when Prince William publicly responded to a BBC investigation that found journalist Martin Bashir had used deceitful behavior to secure Princess Diana's Panorama interview, his statement referred to her as paranoid, a very different take to that of Prince Harry. Wasn't it, though? Was it not? Prince Harry didn't refer to his mother as paranoid. Only William. Congrats to King Harry, who did what his cowardly brother and deadbeat dad couldn't: stop the tabloids without throwing Diana under the bus. Hear, hear, YM Jordan. Thank you for 23 months membership. Let's see. YM Jordan says, William and Charles don't have a single backbone between the two of them. Harry just showed he's the only one in that family who developed a spine. Hear, hear. I should have been a lawyer. I should have been a lawyer. I should have been in that courtroom. Right? F. Lee Barron. I should have been in that courtroom. Strutting back and forth in front of the judge and everybody, and running my fingers up and down my suspenders, and and I think I would throw kind of a country accent in there just to sound a little more, I don't know, interesting, right? Yeah, I would wear some what do you call it? Like one of those summer white suits and everything, looking like a black what is it, Colonel Sanders? Yeah, looking like the black Colonel Sanders. I would. Now what we have here is a total miscarriage of justice. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would pretend to be some country solicitor. A statement from the palace. If you call crickets a statement, sure. Objection, Your Honor. Your Honor, objection. I think what we have here is a gentleman who's in desperate need of a pulled pork sandwich. I move to adjourn. Yes, Baron Matlock. There you go. Angelina Stanley. There you go. Baron Matlock. And look at this. I forgot where this came from, but I've had this for a while. Just because I said she was paranoid doesn't mean I can't cash in on her legacy. Now, I don't know who made that and how long I've had it, but I've had this for a while. And while I was prepping for tonight, I just kind of found it. And it just fit perfectly with the conversation, doesn't it? It fits perfectly. There's Willie Leak with his 30 pieces of silver, thinking about how much he's making from his mama's legacy while he's sitting up there doing the work of the tabloid media. Remember, William and Kate benefit from the invisible contract. It's not that suddenly William is hardworking. It's not that suddenly Kate has found herself, or whatever they say. The two of them are the same people they were before Meghan married into that family. But what has changed is that William played patty cakes with the tabloids. William took a payout. William is in bed with the tabloid media. And that's why there's no criticism of him. Whatever he does, they build him up. The most criticism he faced was when he was speaking about the war in Palestine had gone on too long, or whatever gibberish he was talking. That was the only time that there has been pushback against him since Rachel Meghan Markle walked down the aisle of the St. George's Chapel. Ever since then, everything has been going his way. All he had to do was accept that payout, and he made a deal with the tabloids, and he's untouchable. That is not a coincidence. That is by design. Harry, who refused to crawl into bed with those people, not only have they attacked him, but it's his wife that gets the worst of it. Our Duchess is the one who gets the worst. When they want to hurt Harry, they go after Meghan. Here, there you go. Get your finger out my face. That's what Meghan said. You need to get your finger out my face. Who knew that those two young people, Harry with that shocking red hair and Meghan with those horn-rimmed glasses, that little girl with them granny glasses, who knew that those two young people were going to change the world? Who knew that? That they would become the most popular, the most loved, the favorite royal couple in the world. Who knew that was coming? And there's Harry. Showing his disdain for the media. And there's some images of Harry growing up. Oh, yes, he changed. He's come a long way. And of course, the new redheads in the family, Archie and Lilibet. And then, of course, our beloved Diana. If there's anything that has made me emotional today, is that acknowledgement of the pain that they have caused, not just to Diana, but to friends and other family. But let's put a particular light on Diana, who, as far as I'm concerned, paid the ultimate price. She paid the ultimate price. Oh, check it out over there. Harry, just a little wee kid, a wee little boy, checking out that soul sister. And all those years later, who knew that that was his destiny? Who knew that? And of course, I love those pictures of Diana and Harry. And there's another quote there from Omid Scobie. Omid Scobie says, I would far rather get destroyed in the press than play along with this game or this business of trading negative stories to see my brother's office copy the very same thing that we promised the two of us would never, ever do. That was heartbreaking. And that was, of course, a quote from Prince Harry. Harry has said that he and his brother promised each other that they would never do to each other what their parents did to each other, and that is go to war using their offices to quote and misquote, to attack each other. Because the Welleses, Charles and, of course, Princess Diana, the people's princess, when they went to war, it involved their offices. Now, of course, there was so much more weight to the future king's diabolical ways in comparison to Diana, who was simply trying to defend herself, simply trying to protect her honor. Charles, Camilla, the tabloid media, and so many other monarchists and royal sycophants. That's what Diana was up against. And so that's why Harry made that statement. I would far rather get destroyed in the press. And he's lived up to that because they have done everything they could to destroy him. I would far rather get destroyed in the press than play along with this game or this business of trading negative stories to see my brother's office copy the very same thing that we promised the two of us would never, ever do. That was heartbreaking. And just, listen to that. Never, ever do. That is a child's voice that came out of a man's body. That lets you know how true that is. Because they were children, practically children, when they made that promise to one another. Never, ever. You hear the way that lands? Usually, a grown man doesn't use terms like never, ever, 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 never, ever. That was his child's voice speaking out of a grown man's body, something that they promised one another as children. They saw the damage that it had done for the relationship of their parents. Let's not do that to each other. One of them kept the promise, and the other got in bed with the tabloids. One of them kept that promise, and the other one got into bed with the tabloids. And that's why the other one is protected. That's why they rallied to his support, no matter how stupid, no matter how ignorant, no matter how unjust. Even when the world was asking, where is Kate Middleton? He still got support. And the gatekeeper, Rebecca English, who seems to help him navigate through all the deceitful ways that he's capable of. So obviously, it's William who did not keep the promise. It's heartbreaking when you think about it. It really is. It really is heartbreaking. that as children, they promised not to hurt each other. And that promise went through one ear and out the other. William did exactly what William wanted to do. And he used his brother as the scapegoat. Then, if that wasn't enough, it was his brother's wife. And dare I say, even the children were made vulnerable because William got in bed with the tabloid media. He drank the Kool-Aid. Oh, come on, say it with me. Oh, oh, look at Harry. Absolutely adorable. The boy who became a king. Harry's kingdom is not just in one country or island or anything like that. Harry's kingdom is wherever you find love and compassion. That's Harry's kingdom. And I love these pictures right here. So sweet. He has done his mama proud. He really has. He defended his mother in spite of all of the anguish that he's gone through. He stood in his truth and defended his mother's name. Wonder how William feels right now, knowing that his younger brother, the one who's supposed to be not too bright, not so strong, not so loved, certainly not appreciated. Wonder how he feels knowing that his little brother defended his mother's honor against this billion-dollar publishing industry. Wonder how he feels about that. Prince Harry took on Rupert Murdoch, of all people. Charles is scared of Rupert Murdoch. Camilla, all of the politicians, they're all quaking in their boots with this idea that the tabloid media might get angry at me. Harry risked everything for truth. Oh, so sweet. So sweet. Oh, I love that. I love the way he looks back at her. Love that. Even at that tender young age, all he could think of was protecting his mama. Now, that top photo on the right, you can see Diana taking a peek into the room there. And if you look at the bottom right, all these years later, there's Harry in that same space, setting up for an interview. See that? Isn't that amazing? Once he was a little boy standing on the windowsill, looking out the window. And then, some 30 years later, there he is, all grown up. I know he did. He loved his mother so much. Yeah, isn't it true? Impact so much. Good King Harry. Good King Harry. And fearless athletic Harry. Remember, William was crying because he couldn't figure out the skis. And what happens? Harry goes, whoosh, whoosh, just whizzing by him. Come on, William, just do this. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. William was so frustrated, crying. unable to manage, afraid of his own shadow. And there's this little shadow that went shooting past him, a little blur, some little blur out the corner of his eyes. That was his little brother having the time of his life. And I love this. Poor, insecure William, scared of his own shadow, and Harry standing there like one of the Queen's guards. You see that? Harry in his little red knickers are surveying. There he is, surveying the terrain, looking for any threat. And all William could do is look at him and look at the cameras. Look at him and look at the cameras. And there's little Harry, fearless, unbothered, ready to leap into action to protect everybody in his family. Oh, yeah. Let me see. What I remember most from the skis was Harry protecting his cousin. Yeah, I remember that story about how he was trying to protect Beatrice and Eugenie. Was it Eugenie? I know, like a soldier, right? I love that. I love that. I mean, he is standing there like a soldier, and there's William with his feet turned in and oh, that is very cute. That is very cute. I thought it would be nice to um, celebrate Harry's victory by looking at some photos of him and his mother. I thought that would be a good thing, especially having made his mother so proud. And this is a real. It was a great way to honor her memory. I think this was like the best way to honor her memory. Was this victory. And of course, you may notice this photo. There were a couple of other people, two of the laziest, most useless people I could ever imagine. One is now king, and the other one likes pulled pork sandwiches. So I didn't think they were necessary, so I eliminated them. I just simply blurred them out of the thing. No need in them, taking up unnecessary space. So they're gone. Thank you, software. If you have the right software, you can get rid of anybody. David against Goliath, Baron. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shelley LaFleur. As a matter of fact, apropos of that, let me share this. I had a conversation on Royal Sussex about that some time ago. Let me see if I can find it. And the reason why the statue of David is such a big deal in Florence is because Florence, being a little vulnerable city state, had to go up against some very powerful other states in ancient times. And so they often compared themselves to the biblical story of David and Goliath. So the statue of David has become recognized as a symbol of Florence for that reason, because they felt like they saw themselves as the little shepherd boy going up against the giant, the Goliath. So there you go. And thank you again for the super chat. Well, there you go. Henry, Charles, Albert, David, Mountbatten, Windsor. David versus Goliath. I shared that some time ago because not only is David one of his middle names, but he really has lived up to the idea that he's had to take on a Goliath. Absolutely take on a Goliath. So I think about that. Now, every time I see the statue of David and I think about that story, I often think about what Harry had to go up against. He really is a modern day folk hero. He is the stuff that legends are made of. And as far as royals go, he has done some amazing things. Clearly, he has. If he just retired into obscurity tomorrow, people would still write about the amazing things that he's done in his life. Yep. Because it has been quite a ride so far. And just think, he's still young. He is relatively young, and he's got so much life ahead of him. And there is Harry. I love this photo with him sitting with all the redheads. Them, of course, looking up to him like he's the chief redhead, the chief ginger. And look at there. You know what? When I was watching this earlier, when I watched the video earlier, I did not realize that Tiffany was there. How does Tiffany just pop up here, there, and everywhere? And how is it she always has a glass of champagne? That is so interesting. That is so weird, actually. Tiffany always has a glass of champagne at the ready. How is that possible? You know what I mean? There she is with her rhinestone sunglasses, her champagne, and of course, you know, her boobies kind of showing, but we won't. Yeah, Tiffany is happening, and see, I didn't notice her because I was so, you know, enthralled and interested in everything that they were saying in that statement. And even when Lord Watson was speaking, I still did not notice her there. Now, as you can see, David Sherborne noticed her. And it seems like a couple of that lady back there, she noticed her, but I did not see her. That's so weird. But yeah, so Tiffany has been one of the Sussex's strongest supporters, going all the way back to the days of Tina and Michelle. Yeah, I love Tiffany. She's amazing, actually. Now, I found this earlier because I thought about everything that happened today. And if you remember, this young lady was at the Invictus Games in, was it The Hague, I think? I think it was the one at The Hague. And everybody shared that photo of the little girl. And then she actually took a print of her photo to school and shared it with her classmates. And sadly, I was afraid to share it because of the derangers. I did not want to cause hardship to her or her family. But then I noticed that this person shared it, that person shared it, Omid Scobie shared it. And I said, okay, I'm gonna share it. So I think I was like a week late sharing that image, but I didn't want to because why? The tabloid media had me afraid. I was not afraid for myself. I was afraid for this little girl and her family. And so the point that I'm making is it shouldn't be that way. We should not be terrified of saying this or sharing that, lest the tabloid should hear it and then make a nightmare situation appear for this girl or her family or her school, or you know what I mean? But that is what the tabloids do. The tabloids creates fear. They're the ones who create paranoia. They blame BBC News and Panorama, but I think that if anybody can make you afraid to show your face or speak, it's the tabloids because they make everything worse. They rarely help anybody. They hurt people. They destroy lives. Well, fortunately, nothing came of this, and we could celebrate this moment that this girl had that she'll never forget as long as she lives. But yeah, that was one of those things that I was just like, oh, it's so cute, but I'm not sharing that. The tabloids might get it, or the derangers might go on the school Instagram or Twitter or whatever, because you know they'll do that. The derangers makes threats and cause problems for charities. Charities. If they know the Sussexes are associated in any way, here comes the derangers. Here comes the tabloids. So anyway, fortunately, nothing happened. Leslie F says, isn't one more suitcase? Suitcase. Isn't there one more court case with the Daily Mail pending? I do believe it is. I do believe it is. And thank you for the super chat. I have kind of lost track from time to time, but I believe there is one more case against the Daily Mail. And I'm not even sure what that one is for. Right. That's a great point, Rhonda McKnight. Harry only had his mom. He did not have other members of the family that he could lean on because they were going to take care of William no matter what. But Harry, seemed like Harry was pretty much left with handlers, right? Yeah, that seemed to be the case. You said it, Olive Perry. You said it. How did Tiffany get there? I'm not sure. I kind of think Tiffany has a private jet. I really believe Tiffany has her own private jet. Let me see. TMCD says peace comes from justice, and justice comes from truth. Here, here. Thank you so much for that, TMCD. Peace comes from justice, and justice comes from truth. Peace comes from justice, and justice comes from truth. I like that. Let me see. I'm going to have to screenshot that because you know I'm going to want to remember that. Thank you. Now, here's a few extra photos from last night. These, I know you've seen these already, but I do have a few additional photos. Leave it to the squaddies to find the additional photos that no one knew existed. That is what the Sussex squad does best. They will find it. If it's there, they'll find it. Like right here, Cruz and Taffy, facility dogs with the Salinas Fire Department, along with their friends, have been actively assisting in efforts to combat the LA fires, providing much needed support to firefighters and affected communities. In an inspiring turn of events, they have had the opportunity to meet Prince Harry, who is known for his philanthropic work and advocacy on various social issues, including disaster relief. This encounter not only boosted their morale, but also emphasized the importance of community and collaboration in the face of such devastating challenges. Yeah, that's our Prince Harry. He is an action figure, a hero. So this you've seen before yesterday, and this one I don't think you have. There's Harry. This looks so much like dare I say it, it looks like a royal tour, a royal visit. But no, this is all very casual. The fact that they've all decided to stand in a circle to honor King Harry's visit, you see that happened quite organically. It wasn't instructed. That was just them showing Harry a certain level of respect that they felt he was due, right? Yeah, that's all. Not as though he went in there, I'm Prince Harry, and blah, blah, blah. Or he didn't have aides that followed around and encouraged people to cheer and all that. He just showed up, very casual, and people just naturally formed that circle of protection. You may have seen this one. And maybe that one, or maybe not. I'm not sure. And this one, I'm pretty sure you have not seen that one. Prince Harry chats with, is that South Dakota firefighters assisting in Southern California? Oh, that's cool. Yes, that is cool. Hey, Bonzola, I didn't know you were here. Now, notice 1/20/25. 1/20/25. And was today the 23rd? Was the 22nd when this came? No, 21st. So, yeah. So, noticing that date, I just want to make sure that we all are aware that in spite of all of that nasty stuff that they said about the Sussexes, are they hiding in Montecito, afraid to step out and be noticed, afraid to lend help and support to the community? Certainly not. They are doing what they do best, and that is helping people. So they are not new to this. They are true to this. And right there, our mission to enhance and renew the lives of veterans and first responders living with visible and invisible injuries, including PTSD and traumatic brain injury, with the placement of custom trained service dogs. So you see there, first step for first responders. And of course, this is a new pick. I don't suppose you've seen this one. Okay, I think that was the last of those picks. I think so. And guess what? I'm almost done, you guys. I am almost done. So let me throw a little shade on the way out. Just got about 3 slides left. Why are they always pushing this narrative? Why do they think that everybody, or let's say every woman, wakes up, no matter where they are in the world, and think, oh my goodness, if I could just look more like Kate Middleton, if I can wear those same dowdy and disgusting choices of outer or clothes, there is no way that that Trump girl was thinking about Kate Middleton when she put that red coat on. And the white dress, I want you to know that that white dress that um, the Trump girl is wearing, that is a reproduction of Audrey Hepburn. It has nothing to do with Kate Middleton. And then, of course, the tan coat, again, nothing to do with Kate. But like any cult, these royal sycophants, they do everything they can to try to create some association, to try to lend to some type of relevancy for members of that family where none exist. That's crazy. It's embarrassing. And they really ought to stop doing that. And this is the Daily Mail's coverage of Harry's settlement. This was a very, very, very small little footnote that they added to the paper. Not big at all. Prince Harry accepts payout in excess of £10 million and a full apology from Sun Publishers after 6-year legal battle over claims of unlawful information gathering. The Duke of Sussex alleged he was targeted by journalists and private investigators working for NGN News Group newspapers. That's it. There was an article to go with it, but that was pretty much it. And look at there. Look at there. Look who went shopping. Look who's on the high street. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, shops for spectacles in London's Notting Hill. Y'all know this is supposed to go viral, right? This is supposed to be a viral moment. Had I not said anything, you wouldn't have even known it happened. And why is that? Because nobody cares. Nobody's interested and nobody cares. Look at there. She's got a new coat on. And yeah, and wait, look at her hair. Is she auditioning for like a nightclub or something like that? Or is that what she usually wears when she's going to shop for glasses? I wonder. Yeah, I think this was deliberate. The hard part was trying to figure out who to report to, right? Hello, is this the Daily Mail? Senior Royal here. Hello. Or how about this one? It's much easier for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racism rather than address the fact that the negativity toward them is coming from within the royal family. The calls are coming from inside the house. Anyway, nobody cared. And how, wait, and this is like something I just found before I came on. I promise I really didn't get a good look at it. But that is too cute That is too cute. It in a way is kind of, I don't know. It is a great characterization, though. That is a very good characterization. Prince Harry just won substantial damages in his privacy case against the Murdoch Press included. Remarkably outlet, let me see, remarkably outlets like The Sun and The Times have been unusually kind to Harry and Meghan lately, running sympathetic columns and even glossing over criticism from US media. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? Meanwhile, the Daily Mail, once a relentless critic, has softened to, with pieces praising us so small, praising Meghan's charity work. Could this sudden change of tone have anything to do with Harry's next high-stake legal battle against the Mail's publisher starting soon? That's interesting. That is interesting. What do you all think? I didn't notice that they were any less volatile. I didn't notice that, but but I love that characterization. That is cute. And anyway, you guys, I am done. This is the absolute last slide for today. Thank you all so much. And thank you all for staying up with us or starting your day with us. I am very appreciative. And also thank you, David Sherborne, for fighting the good fight. Thank you, Prince Harry, for inspiring us all to stand and fight our corner, right? To never give up, never give in to tyranny. And also thank you to the Duchess of Sussex for being so supportive and likely encouraging Harry to stay in the fight, not just for himself, not just for his family, but for everyone who at some point is going to benefit from his hard work. And let's see, and everybody else. So I am done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Baron and kids. Very interesting cross-section of information. Well, thank you, Balaji. And thank you for being a member. Thank you, Cookies and Cream, Marshard, TMCD. Thank you, Helen G. Elaine Parker, if you're still here, thank you. Cookies and Cream says, continue to pray for the Sussexes, each other, and the world. All right, thank you, one and all. Let's have a very special exit with the Ginger Avenger. And thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. I went on earlier and permanently eliminated some of those derangers that left those cryptic comments and such. We don't have any room for that at Royal Sussex. Thank you, Sussex Riviera. A Hill. All right. Good night, you guys. Love you and see you next time.